Black Cat Lounge is sponsored by Beacon, a home for those who have a passion for filmmaking and the unusual. Paraware, apparel for the action-seeking paranormal investigator. Dragonfly Art and Soul for all of your magical, metaphysical, and spiritual needs. Mystery Control, your go-to feed for science, magic, true crime, the paranormal, and so much more. Hey everybody, Tim Shaw here. It's so great to have you on another Tuesday night. Where else would you be seriously thinking about it? It's raining, it's almost pouring, and I'm an old man and I'll be snoring if you weren't here tonight. I'm just telling you that right now, so I'm so thankful that you're here. Guys, you know what? Before we start, I have the most amazing guest, one of my best friends out there. I'm just going to tell you what, before I even introduce her and everything, just say that she impresses the hell out of me, and by the time the show is done, you'll love her too. Well, maybe you won't, but I think you'll love her anyway. But hey, guys, I want to go and just guys let you know we've lost someone in the paranormal cryptozoology world. Her name is Shaitan Noir. She's a great author. Here she is. She was a dog trainer, and I spent a few dinners with her, and we all sat down and we were talking. She was just a pleasant lady, and she was so knowledgeable. And a good friend of mine, Michael John from Paranormal Voice, referred to her as the crypto encyclopedia, and she really was. And I'm just going to let everybody know that she's going to be missed in this field and in the cryptozoology field because she was a prolific writer and she was a great speaker. She really was a great speaker. So rest well, kid. You're I didn't know you for many years, but thank you for stopping by the show and having dinner with me because it was always enlightening. Anyway, listen, I want to go and I want to introduce tonight's guest. Now, tonight's guest is, well, I don't know how can I describe her? I have like lists over here of like her accomplishments, and I just like I don't know. I can't. I don't. It's like 2 pages long. It's one of those things. Anyway, she's an author. She's a speaker. But what I love about her, and I've got a chance to meet her just a few. I would say about 3-4 years ago. She was a trainer. She was a weightlifter. So automatically, I was like enthralled with her. I loved her immediately on that one. And actually, my buddy Frank, he actually was like the person who networked us together. So that was great. But I have to tell you one thing. I am so impressed by her dedication, her innovation, her creativity. It just absolutely amazes me. It amazes me. And she is the creator of Lauren Haunts, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Lauren has an amazing store where she showcases her hand-built equipment. I'm talking, she makes everything that she sells. And one of the things, and I have a piece. I have a piece of her gear. We're going to talk about it because she wants to get it back and she wants to make it better. And it's like, no, I love this piece. Anyway, let's bring on the one and only, the effervescent, the iridescent, someone who she's just the sunshine of our lives. Lauren Hellekson. Lauren, how are you, kiddo?
You're so cute.
Well, I mean, I always remember I met you up at Sault Ste. Marie, and we were all talking. I forget who I was even talking with, and you were there, and you said,
well, the funny thing is, Frank is the one that linked us up, but it was because, and she's watching right now too, I said something about Kathy, and then you were like, oh, my Kathy? And I was like, my Kathy. And then we were like, and it was a moment.
And even listen, even John, my buddy Toby, his nickname's Toby. John, incredible human being. I'm just going to tell you, that's amazing. Oh, and Kathy, our Kathy, my Kathy, your Kathy,
My
our
Kathy.
Kathy, she's amazing. Yes, she is. And and just to let you, we just talked about you, John. Put his order in today.
Know, he did.
Oh, I think it's fantastic. Anyway, guys. Anyway, listen, this lady, her gear is amazing. And on Facebook, she put this call out. She wanted a challenge. She wanted somebody to, she wanted something to be made differently. And one of the things that I hate.
Was this like 2, 3? When did I make that for you? Was that 2 years ago?
It's got to be
2.5 years ago.
It has to be 2 to 3 years ago.
It's funny to think about that now too.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. And
but it was great
to see how I've come from.
Oh that. Yeah, and now look at you. Look where you've come, lady. I do a Z snap, but I don't want I might hurt my hands. Anyway,
that's
okay. So I went and I posted and I wrote to her and I said, geez, you know what I would like? I would like a pod with a static sensor, but no buzzer, because I hate buzzers. And
no, you said static and EMF, no sound.
Yeah, that's right. Static and EMF. That's what it was.
But separate static, EMF, no sound. And I was like, no sound. Okay.
Well, the sound I hate, because if I'm doing seance, I like having old school, new school stuff, and this piece is perfect. It has no sound. And I don't know how many times I'll look down and I'll see the little static like starting to go. I'm seeing watching it, and all of a sudden it'll get like real solid. And then all of a sudden the EMF light goes on. But let me show you this. This is one of her earlier pieces.
I was like just learning how to pour epoxy and
look at this. This is whoops, I had it backwards. Here we go. Is this not gorgeous?
Because I remember too, I was like, what are your favorite stones? And just threw big old chunky pieces on there.
Citrine and amethyst. This is beautiful.
Oh yeah.
And I love it. And of course, when she made it for me.
That was like a year later that you made me sign it.
When I got it, she signed it.
When we were at OSR.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, you brought it with you. Piece. And you were like, you need to autograph this.
Exactly, because this is a great piece of equipment. And she's a great builder. We're going to talk about craziness, because you know what? Lauren is like the female version of Dr. Frankenstein. She's like Lauren Frankenette. How's that? We're just going to call you Lauren Frankenette. And
Frankenstein was his last name, so I could be Lauren Frankenstein. It's just
you could be, but I like Frankenette better, because you're a lunkette,
I was going to say, you call me lunkette.
Yeah, you're a lunkette, like lunker and lunkette. So we know. So you're going to be Frankenette from here on in. That's the way I'm going to introduce you. I love it. But
Kimmel calls me Tony Stark.
Well, I believe that. Yeah, that's more your style.
I like Frankenette.
What I loved about when I talked to you before was that you have this healthy marriage of belief system and tech. And that's something that so many builders and so many investigators don't have. And to me, I think it's important to have that, because you need that balance. And I think that's what really causes you to be more farsighted than so many of the other creators out there. So that to me always impressed me. And of course, I read your book. I have to read your
your little witchy book.
Your little witchy book.
That was a part of my checklist for Greg Ficetic, so he'd take me seriously. I was like, you want to be published? Done. I'm doing it right now. And I did. I even opened a publishing company for it. Like, I didn't do the direct to Amazon. I opened a publishing company to publish. Like, so if you, it's great that people have access to be able to just publish on Amazon. It's fantastic.
Right.
I just heard a crash.
Not here.
Okay. Sorry. No, we're installing a new bed and I heard a crash and I'm like, is my husband okay? which is great because you can go right to Amazon and you don't have to be, big. It's not a ton of money or anything, but
Right.
technically, when you do that, Amazon owns the rights to your writings
Yes.
now,
Oh
to
yeah.
your
Yeah.
works now. So
People
you
don't
really no
realize that.
longer own it. Yeah.
Yeah. People don't realize
So
that.
I was like, well, I don't want that. So I literally opened a publishing house, bought ISBN numbers,
Yes.
assigned myself as I'm like an author of my publishing company, and released the book under my own publishing company. And I was like, smart business or ADHD or both? Control
It's
issues,
a
maybe. But
little
you
of
know
both.
what? I own it. How about that? I own it.
Yeah, but that's what's so great about it. Because I know myself as a published author. I mean, everybody else owns it. Everybody else owns all my work. And yeah, I can get it, reprinted, but it's the fact
Yeah.
that I've lost that. Now, if I want to go and update it, if I want to do something, now I have to jump through hoops to do that. And that's
Yeah.
not worth it. So, yours truly in the next book, just going to let you know what I'm doing. I'm taking all these stories from all my other works and then I'm rewriting them and then
Oh
putting them in
yeah,
those books.
we're
Fresh
gonna call
book.
you're gonna have your Taylor Swift era. So you're just taking it back,
That's right. That's right.
releasing them. This is
I've
Tim's era.
believe me, I got the moves of Taylor Swift, except nobody
That
wants to see
you
those.
have a whole bunch of boyfriends.
No,
Well, now I think she only has the one boyfriend,
but
which is
yeah,
good.
no, she's all right. She's all right.
Listen, I like
But
Taylor Swift. It's fine.
yeah, I don't know. I got to get on TMZ in order to be able to see this stuff. Anyway, let's get back to what we were talking about there, kiddo.
Oh,
Listen,
sorry, I did that.
listen, you and me, we are
Welcome
all
to
over the
talking
place.
to us. Last
Yes,
time we were together, pretty sure we just talked for 3 hours straight.
you're right.
Everybody was just walking by, and we're like, ah, static, and it was at like Michigan Paracon. No networking, just Tim and I at a little side table, hiding and just talking.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah, you're right. It was probably about 3 hours that we talked.
Yeah.
But you know what? Because what I thought was so fascinating was the fact that you seem to really look at things a little bit differently, a little bit more skewed. And I like that because of the fact that people seem to be we're at the end of the paranormal TV age. Now everything's streaming, now everything's on YouTube. It's a wild west again. But nothing has changed. The way they think, the way that they do things, everything is the same. And I think that a lot of us, especially the small group of us here in Western New York that we all work together, we are pushing for that change. And being able to network with somebody like you in order to go and pick your brain in order to kind of look ahead is so important. Let me ask you this. Okay. I'm going to throw a basic question out at you, and I'm going to just let you go like the crazy woman that you are. So anyway, what's a ghost to you in your opinion? And the reason why I'm asking this is really because I will tell you the way I feel, because I am like disliked by a lot of the spiritualist churches, and because I'm not dogmatic, I think it's all crap. I think the religion is all crap, and I pretty much believe
Religion's
that
all crap.
it's all crap. I believe that it's all energy and
Dude,
frequency.
that's so mean.
No, because of the fact, you know what? It's like I went from a Roman Catholic
I love
background
you.
into the spiritualist background, and all of a sudden it's like, well, this is great, but you know what? I don't believe in angels, I don't believe in demons, I don't believe in guides, I don't believe in this, I don't believe in that. But I believe in energy, I believe in the harnessing of energy, I believe in the focus of energy, and I believe that when we die, we become part of the great universe of energy. It's like, and it's our thoughts, because spiritualism is all about thoughts or things are vibrational in nature. So that's my pontification. You're on, kid. So what do you think, ghosts are?
So if ghosts are a thing that we could categorize,
Right.
I don't think that it's dead people. I it's taken me kind of like a long time to really concrete, this idea that I have when it comes to, if I had to put ghosts in a category, I don't think that they're dead people. I do think that if they are real, it's something that's outside of our like frame of perception. I have been doing a lot of deep dives when it comes to not ghosts as like an interdimensional being, but just different spatial dimensions themselves,
Right.
because
Oh, okay. That's
and
actually
I don't think anything lives in those dimensions, but I
no.
do think that when we have spatial dimensions, that is our three spatial dimensions where we have like length and width and depth, and then our fourth dimension that we live in is our time. Our time frame goes forward and backward. And it's a common knowledge thing that people think that time is not a linear concept, which is fine. But for all intents and purposes, time moves forward, and that's all it does. It moves in one direction.
Exactly.
And there are interesting theories, which is another thing. That's just going to be a pet peeve when people start to talk about theories and science and the paranormal.
Right.
Nope, you're not talking about physics. Stop.
I love when you do that. I do.
Well, I'm just going to start asking a very, very hard question when people want to come out and say that they are talking about physics. And it's going to be a very difficult conversation to have with them. But there is, and honestly, it's why at the end of August is why I start my bachelor's of science in physics and astronomy and math. This is for this reason. I'm going to school full time because I'm so tired of people talking about science and the paranormal. So I'm like, fine, I'll just get my master's in physics, and then we'll talk about science.
Let's face it, Laura. You and I just talked.
I need to be the professional.
Well, you have to be. Somebody has to be up there in order to go and understand it and push it through. Because I don't know, even myself, and I am guilty. I am guilty of it, of going and rapid jawing whatever I've read or heard somebody else talk about.
Who's not? That's the whole.
Well, that's what I mean.
If we didn't have those rabbit hole sessions, I wouldn't be going to college for what I'm going for. Like, it is because of it's literally because of things like this as to why I'm going to college. Not just that. And this isn't just like a fever dream. I'm going and I'm going to buy a physics book. This is, I studied and tested high enough in math to be accepted into the physics. Like,
that's awesome.
You have to test fairly high. You can't just walk in off the street and start a physics degree. You have to test high enough in math. So I studied math for months and taught myself like 3 additional levels of math in order to pass these tests. And I'm taking the test one more time, like just to see if I can level up one more time. Because it's a fun challenge. And I'm on ADHD medication and it's magic. Get on the pill if you wanna. It's magic. But like back to the dimensional thing, we live on this time dimension. And some will say, 4 dimensions. Some will say 5 if they count the 0 dimension as a dimension, which is basically just like a flat line. And there are so many mathematical theories in physics that propose if this and this and this were to work, it would need to be on the framework of multiple dimensions.
Correct. I agree with that. Yes.
Yeah, whether it is the 11 of string theory, or even just conceptualizing a 5th dimension is mind-blowing to me. So for me, if ghosts were real, they are not dead people. It is not something that we can even perceive. So our human brains, especially those that do have or claim to have gifts, what they're seeing, thinking that they're interacting, no offense, thinking that they're interacting with, or the messages that they're receiving, are just anecdotal to how we are able to quantify that and turn it into something that literally doesn't make our brains melt. Because if you're faced with something that we have no comprehension of, and this is another interesting story that I wrote down because it started me on this path of looking into neuroplasticity as this Tim, I'm gonna curse.
That's all right.
There are so many fucking cool things that are so weird and unreal and seemingly paranormal that are real, that are not ghosts, that are not
I
shadows,
agree. Oh
that
my
are
God,
not,
I agree. I agree 100%.
that are not past lives, that are not like made up anecdotal stories, like neuroplasticity.
Well, let's face it,
Physics in general.
neuroplasticity is just, I mean, it just proves
That's
that
how
we
we
can,
that's how we pull our memories and how we form our memories. And your
yes.
brain can literally decide if that memory is okay for you to recall or if it needs to change it based on your moral beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
your trauma. Oh, Emerson, honey, my dog, every tiny little noise, it scares him. And plus I'm going crazy here.
Oh, poor little guy.
I hit a deer. Well, I've hit many deers, unfortunately. I hit a deer, and it was something that I still to this day, because it was a little bit more of a traumatic, I ended up like seeing it afterwards the next day. But my brain refuses to recall me hitting the deer. It inputs this piece of sheet metal that like rolls across the street, even though I know it was a deer. The cop confirmed it was a deer. My car confirmed it was a deer. The next day it confirmed it was a deer. So just knowing that my brain refuses to give me information that I know is there is so much spookier, because then when I am at the Ohio State Reformatory up in the attic and I'm walking down the attic in the pitch black dark with no flashlight, and I see a piece of painter's plastic wave up at me, and something in my sympathetic nervous system says, you need to walk a little faster. And I'm like, oh shit.
Oh, yeah.
And I go and I get a flashlight and I go back and there's no painter's tape. It throws me back to that deer. And I'm like, did my brain just input a piece of painter's plastic because it's something familiar to me that wasn't going to traumatize me for whatever that just was? And that's just us. We're the ghosts, y'all. Not dead people. It's probably just us and our brains.
I am a firm believer that, yes.
I'm like wide-eyed now. I didn't take my medication today. I'm sorry, everybody.
Well, I'm a firm believer that, yes, there's something to it. Yes, it affects how we perceive, because why else would only a few of us see something objectively and everybody else would not see it? That's something that I've always asked about.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, to me, that this is something that is very, very common. And the biggest problem that I have as someone who's been doing this for, since Moses gave me the 10 Commandments.
Oh my God.
The biggest problem that I've felt is the fact of recall of what the client, what the witness has seen, what they've really seen, or is it their brains turning around and trying to protect themselves, and trying to blot out the worst of something, So, I mean, it's really it's really a conundrum when we start thinking about that. So, what do you think is the future for us as human beings to be able to go and kind of allow ourselves, and again, neuroplasticity, just that the whole practice means that we can retrain ourselves in order to go and see a little bit more truth. But
how can we trust it?
That's the big thing.
Because in a control, we can control it. But there's no way to verify if you're by yourself and something happens and your sympathetic nervous system kicks on and your brain decides you're not going to remember that. There's no way to verify,
Exactly.
So it's like, it's always going to be this like, was that what that was? Or was that something stranger? Was that something scary? Or was that something more traumatic that my brain was like, nope, it was a shadow. Don't worry, it was a shadow person. No worries, it was just your grandma. It's fine.
But
it was just Abraham Lincoln. It's fine.
But I mean,
it's fine.
Let's face it.
It's fine.
The problem I have is too many people don't understand how anything works. and even like mediums, they drive me insane, some of these mediums, because I see this, I see this, I see this. But hey, guys, wait a minute. Your eye has to focus X amount of times per second, and it does not go and take the whole scene in, and you're getting bits and pieces, and your brain is filling the rest in. So again, how can you really trust that? I mean, I can tell you that, oh, I saw this.
And so, and that's usually if somebody's like, I know what I saw.
Yeah,
And it was confirmed and confirmed and confirmed. And I'm like, I believe, that's the thing. I believe you. Like, I believe if you think you see a ghost. I believe that, there was a message that came through and it was like, I've gotten hyper personal messages from people with gifts. I've gotten them. Like, I absolutely believe you. My lack of indulgement, is indulgement a word? It is now.
listen, you can make up all the words you want on my show.
My lack of indulgentification for the specific like paranormal explanations or like the anecdotal sort of emotional fueled evidence, my hesitation with it is because I need to, one, practice what I preach. So if I'm going to preach science, I can't be, oh, that totally was a ghost. Absolutely. I believe people's stories. I will always believe your story. But my questions will always be the technique or that thing that you swear works or this app that you swear you can talk to spirits with. I have this question, this question, this question, and this question. If you can answer me those questions, not even answer me. If you could write those questions down and answer them for yourself,
Exactly.
you're going to grow. And that's all I'm worried about. You don't need to convince me. I already believe y'all. I believe all of you. Nobody needs to convince
but you know
me.
what? This is what separates you from all of the amazing Randys out there. I mean, all those people that are just like, no, 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 no.
Oh my gosh. I find debunk culture just as bad as, like, no offense, orb culture.
No,
Everything's
I
a
agree.
ghost. It's the exact same as the debunkers. Everything's a demon or the same thing as the debunkers. No offense,
You
debunkers. I'm sorry. I love you. We can have a conversation to just be like a little bit more. You have to let a little bit in. But when you base your platform, when you base your career on demons, you're always going to see demons. When you base your career on ghosts, you're going to see ghosts. I don't care how many
exactly.
times you tell me you're a skeptic. When you base everything on saying no or debunking, everything is fake, everything is debunk. Like, you are setting yourself up for failure when you base your career on a certain like paranormal aesthetic.
Exactly. I had a great conversation with
That's why I
uh
like you. I have no idea what you do. I still don't. No, I'm just kidding.
what do you think? I don't know what I do.
Although, let me tell, wait, I have to tell a story. Welcome
Uh-oh.
to ADHD Lauren. A story about Tim and why I
Oh
love
no.
watching
I'm
Tim in
afraid.
gallery readings. No, I tell this story all the time. I was able to, because I like begged Kathy and Greg, and I was like, I have to be in there when Tim's doing his gallery reading. I want to see it so bad. So I was in there while Tim was doing his gallery reading at Parapsychon. And it was fine. It was great. Number one, he was winging candy at people's faces. And he was like, well, it's to catch him off guard so I can read him better. And I'm like, that's brilliant, hysterical, and chaotic as shit, first off. So I loved it. Second, it was so funny. You had a message for somebody and you said, you were like, and you like pointed to a guy and you were like, something about your brakes. You need to check your car. And then you went to move on and the guy was like, and you came back and you were like, did that make sense? And he was like, I just put new brakes on my car like this weekend. And you were like, yeah, you got to check those. And I'm like, that's the kind of psychics we need. That's practical shit. I like it. I was like, that's fantastic.
Lauren, Lauren, the one thing you know about me is like I am not
It was
going to
so
be the
practical. I loved it.
I'm not a big spiritual guy when it comes to a lot of things. I'm kind of like the bread and butter stuff. That's if you want to talk about like the
I
other
loved it.
side, that's the type of message I pick up. That's just the way it works. And you can't do it any, other way. But you know what? Getting back to like the skeptics and that, you have to be a skeptical believer, and or at least a skeptic who is open to the possibilities. Now, I got a good.
like.
Do you
I
know
like
Calvin Von
that
Crush? Did you meet him?
better.
Did you
Who?
meet Calvin up in Michigan? Calvin Von Crush. He was
Oh
with
no,
the
but
week.
I know him. Him and I chat a lot.
I love Calvin. When I first met Calvin, it was a pissing contest, the two of us. It really
Yeah.
was. But really, when he started understanding that I was not the fluffy bunny, I was a person that was really into the energy and the frequency of spirit and that whole thing. And that was the way that I felt that I was doing contact work. He was like, okay, I can kind of understand that. And then he said to me, he goes, you know what? He goes, the way I work is this way. He goes, I'm a skeptic until you can prove it to me. And at that point, if you can prove it to me and I can't disprove it, I will believe it. Joe Nichols, the late Joe Nichols, who was one of the deans of the skeptic world, great author, unbelievable person. I got a chance to interview him and I got a chance to talk with him. And he was the same way. Now, he was a magician, so he understood the mechanics of fraud and he understood, human psychology and what people were looking for and how to do the sleight of hand, how to go and be able to bring this through, but he said to me the same thing. If you can prove it to me and I can't disprove it, well, if I can't disprove it and other people can't disprove it, what's left? It's truth. I sat there after
Not
talking
necessarily.
to, well, not necessarily, but I mean, that was the way he explained it to me.
I know, but I'll get all sciencey on.
Go get sciencey on me. Come on.
Well, so no. I want you to finish your story first, because
But anyway,
there was also a question in the chat too that I wanted to touch base on.
okay, but I'm just saying, you know what? You need people that are open-minded, but they're strict. That's the thing that I had a lot of trouble with the spiritualist religion, and I had a lot of trouble with the New Agers, and I still have a lot of trouble with mediums and some of the psychics that I have worked with, because too many people take everything that comes out of somebody's mouth as gospel without
Yes.
they accept everything, and that's where I have a problem with that, because it's like, no, you know what? I could be totally misinterpreting whatever's coming through. And I'm at that point where I don't even think about it. I just open my mouth and let the pablum fly. And it just, people don't realize that, sometimes you have to be skeptical. And it's the same thing when I was doing the housework and I was doing all that other stuff. I can tell you 1,001 things, but does it agree with this with the narrative? Does it agree with the story?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I have my problems with so many people. But go ahead, Lauren. The floor is yours, because I can't wait to hear this.
So if we go under, if it can't be disproven by
Right.
peer review, it means that it is factual or could have some truth to it. That is only true if it's being reviewed or experimented with by somebody with the level of knowledge needed.
Oh no, I agree there. I agree 100%. 100%.
We have, and you see this a lot, and I have a lot of videos that I've been making. I've been taking a little bit of break and getting really into like legends and lore lately, but before that, I try to break down theories and concepts specifically in quantum physics that are often pulled out as some sort of explanation for paranormal activity. And I try to explain to people that that's not how that works. Just because it makes sense does not mean that it's true. And that's
I agree
really
there.
difficult concept, because make sense is so deeply dependent on your core beliefs. Because for me, and this is going to be, I'm so sorry, because it's the first thing that comes to my head that's like really, really controversial, and whatever, cool. If you guys want to know my political stance, here it is. So let's take like a super controversial thing would be like a pro-life or pro-choice conversation. Mm-hmm. And the reason why that's such a difficult conversation is because it's so deeply based in morality. So for me, like, pro-life doesn't make sense to me. But to a viscerally pro-life person, pro-choice means one thing, and it doesn't make sense to them. And that's the same thing when we get into this, like, oh, well, this makes sense to me. So string theory must be real. Stone tape theory must be real. Somebody mentioned E8. You know, I like that idea. That must be real. That was said by a scientist. It must be real. And I'm a very much believer in science. But don't take quantum physics as, don't apply it to sort of like anecdotal evidence, because it is not what you think it is. And so I always have, I've taught a few classes in person and online about, because it's another thing, we apply the scientific method. We apply the scientific method is constantly said in the paranormal. No, you don't. So sorry, everybody. No, you don't. You may be applying some sort of semblance of experimental based checks and balances for that moment, which that's a great start. That is a great start. You are not, first of all, you are not applying the scientific method using a spirit box and talking to spirits. You're not.
Oh my God. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
You're also not applying the scientific method to that place that is already rumored to be haunted that you purchased a one night, private hunt at. You are not applying the scientific method. You're not.
Exactly.
And you're not applying science, frankly, when you're talking to ghosts. Can you experiment with talking to spirits? Hell yeah. Do all your communication experimentation all day long. It is not science, and you are not applying the scientific method. You cannot. That's like me saying I'm applying the scientific method to prove that pink unicorns are real.
Well, this is what I love. When we talked about Brad Bradley, a friend of ours, we were that was pretty good. I like that. That was a little hair flip. I was into that. I'll just let you know that was great. Anyway, we were talking about Brad Bradley and the group that he's associated with. Now, what I love about them is that they're not debunkers. Some believe, some don't believe, but they are measuring is what they're doing. They're out there collecting data, and they're trying to go and just collect that data and see if we can get established patterns or whatever.
And that's such a good start. That's such a good way to apply some scientific technique to what you're doing.
Right.
But so it's like, it's almost like data is what we can collect. And then when we start to put labels on it, or even what we think it might be, we are now turning it into anecdotal.
Right. I agree.
So it has now left the realm. It was data. It was collected, hopefully objectively with a lot of different ways. And that's great. And that's fantastic. The second that we say, oh, this lines up with the claims, boom, anecdotal. No longer science, no longer objective, no longer data. It is now anecdotal information that we're now applying to a story.
And I agree.
But that's also what makes the paranormal so much more fun and chaotic. And it's funny too, because yes, I do a lot of very deeply science-based content, and a lot of my talks are about trying to find a more objective approach. And you can absolutely start talking about how your techniques are more scientific when they can be testable, repeatable, and predictable. Hell yeah. But if you're like, this is my science experiment and we're doing science, okay, great. Show me the data in the other location, setting it up the exact same way. And I also want your notes on where the police were patrolling in the city surrounding where you are. Well, I can't get that. Okay, then we were not applying any sort of scientific method there. You were putting together a very well-organized way to collect data, and that's awesome. That's fantastic. But until we're able to do something that is, there are no checks and balances in terms of how the techniques work. Everybody does the Estes method different. Everybody has different rules with this. Everybody has different rules with that. Everybody has a different way that they like to do this. I sell My equipment, yes, I know it's pretty. I understand it's pretty. I sell my equipment though as trigger devices, not for communication. And I don't like bash people for using them as communication. That's just not what I build them for. Use them for communication all you want. That's fine. But because you are using a cool gadget doesn't mean that you're doing science.
Well, that's you know what? I think that's my biggest bitch when it comes to so many paranormal people and groups, and that they will
We
spend
love tech and we love how tech makes us feel.
exactly. But is it really communication? Or let's face it. Let's talk about cell towers and K2 meters and flaps. Let's talk about that. I mean, I was up the Hinsdale house. There was no power up there. We're up on top of a hill. We had 10 K2s pinning outside. Pinning. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, this is the biggest
The
paranormal
spirits are
thing we ever
here.
had." No. No. Listen, you got to understand how cell towers work. You got to understand how everything works. You have to take the time to understand it because you've got to be able to banish the shadows in order to see the light. And people aren't getting that.
And it's a boost when you get to see the lights turn on. And it's going to ruffle a lot of feathers because no matter what, we are going to have this conversation all day long, and every single person
Yes.
that's watching right now, yes, you, all of you, except for you, Kathy. Just kidding. Everybody. Kathy will admit to this too. If we are in the moment and the light goes off, we automatically get excited. Automatically. Even Greg freaking Fiketic, okay? There is a split second in our brains that we say, here it is. And then we're like, okay, wait a minute, calm down. Let's see. Let's figure this out. Let's do that and the other thing. And if we are to instead start like removing the humanization of equipment going off, because we say like communication is this, what is communication? Because like you and I are communicating and we're speaking English and there are things that we understand what we're saying to each other. There is a language. And it's like if we think that spirits or ghosts are so intelligent and yet we are literally dumbing them down to number one,
Yes. Oh my God. Okay.
touch the antenna. Listen, if you're given all this credit to ghosts and you are literally talking to them like they are toddlers, like number one, that is such a it's so conflicting where it's
It's
like
insulting. As far as I'm concerned, it's so insulting.
and it's like what like so I would be like let's just stop trying to communicate, just try to think of other things, because if we have this whole other realm of existence where these beings that not only were they humans once, but now they've crossed this veil into this place where they can go anywhere and latch onto energy and ride radio waves and come through your speakers, and yet you have to try to explain to them to touch the antenna. And then don't even get me started on how much we thank inanimate objects. So there's no shared reference system.
I agree.
It's kind of just like
I agree.
we constantly are explaining, and this is not to bash, because I have been involved in so many paranormal investigations and I try to just be an observer and I like to observe, but this is what I observe. Every time I do see consistency. Everybody's like, hello, my name is Lauren. I'm here with some friends. We've come to communicate with you. We have some equipment that's laid out in front of you. We would love to get a sign of you being here. Like, tell me right now if that's not verbatim what like 90%, 100%, 100%. I used to start it that way. And you want to know why I was so deeply starting any investigation that way, just almost out of like habit?
Mm-hmm.
Now I just don't even talk because I'm like, no, I don't know what to do. So I just don't talk.
Well, as far as I'm concerned,
like,
a trigger object I'm not
But
going
I
to
don't
invite.
want to
I'm not.
even
I don't want to invite
start.
anybody. I'm not. You know what? I'm not going to. I'm one of these people that don't want to sit in the dark and talk to myself unless I'm doing like audio work. That's a little different. But I mean, if I'm going to sit there, I just want to put it out there. You know what? If
And
it
I
if
do
it's
set the boundary as well too, that I no longer like introduce myself. Now, if I'm at an event and people are like excited and they're beginners and things like that, like I'm getting ready. Heather Taddy and I are we're headlining HillCon.
yes, you are.
And I'll tell you right now, I got SB7s, I got apps on my lap. Like I am there. And it's so cool because that's the time that I get to be like, Science Lauren, who's she? And I just get to like try to talk to ghosts and try to see if I can see stuff. And it can be so freeing because I
Mm-hmm.
have no expectations. And sometimes, because I am so rigorous in how I try to conduct myself at haunted spaces and how I'm like religiously like taking notes, taking in, trying to figure out like paroling the perimeter, seeing what if there is like how far is the police station, how far, like just getting really down into the nitty gritty. And a lot of reason of why I only continuously investigate like the Madison Seminary because I have full access there. That is how I can approach with science, just there. And any other place that I can typically have regular access to. If I don't have regular access, I'm not going to pretend like I'm doing any kind of science anywhere.
Well, but that's it. You have to have you've got to have repeated.
Regular access.
Exactly. You have to be able to go and be able to go to the same
Yeah,
location time and time and time again.
constantly, because it has to be repeatable. You have to be able to
Exactly.
repeat. And that's
And
why I have that installation at Hillview.
this is what kills me about seance. It's like, oh, everybody do seance. Okay, well, I'll do seance, no problem. It's not going to work. Very seldom. It's repeatability. Same people, same place, same location. It's repeatability. Why it works, I've got a theory, but do I really know? I don't know. All I know is historically, and I look at other people, same place, same people, the same time, repeatability in that location. That
And it's
location is
interesting.
what's sometimes more important than anything else.
And do you think it's just you guys haunting?
Who knows?
I
Who knows?
know. I
Who
always love
knows?
that's like one of my favorite little like crackpot tinfoil ideas is that like we're just chasing ourselves.
How many times have I said it's left over? It's left over from somebody else. How many times have I said, what are you thinking about? How many times would I let's even just get a little bit more abstract. Deja vu or past
Oh, I
lives.
love deja vu.
Okay, let's look at it. Are you really
I
experiencing
that
it, or is it something that is within your brain, that vibration that is coming out and affecting whatever tools, whatever the reader, whatever? Is it the vibration? It is the energy. Is it, or is it external? Who knows? I mean, that's a
you
big thing.
you know Rick Secker. And
Yeah.
I always talk about this. Anytime we start to talk about like time, the oh, sorry, Ella. Hold please.
And our guest tonight is Lauren from Lauren's Hots. And we love Lauren because Lauren will push the envelope. And that's what we love about her. Here we go. I have that one. I have that one.
I tell everybody, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I tell everybody if you're interested in the whole like time slips and time overlapping and things like that, Rick Secker has some great books on time. And it's not just because he wrote You Are One of My Favorite People in This World inside of it. I love him so much.
Lauren, I'll tell you, sometimes
I have your books, Tim, and you didn't write that I was.
yeah, well, my next book, I will write a
If you need help
paragraph in it.
publishing it, let me know because I opened up a publishing company.
Wow, you're throwing it at me. Hey, don't laugh. Might be something coming up.
I could give you some tips on that. I could get you your ISBN and everything.
But now, again, Lauren, we've been talking about all these abstracts. Let's talk about your trigger object. let's talk about the type. First of all, this is Lauren's. Where are we? Here we are. This is Lauren's website.
And special to all of you people that might still be watching, I released this morning. I opened up the store just for my mailing list, and I was able to open like a ton of spots, so they did not all sell. And I am going to open up the rest. It's like I have the Nova up, the Sear up, and I have some very limited edition, like super, super witchy, intuitive. You only know what it looks like when you open the box, kind of like Labubu style crystal pods. But I make them specifically for you. I'm getting so witchy with them that I'm so excited. So I think I have some of those left. But anyways, I am going to be posting a link on Facebook tomorrow morning at some point. So for people that are not on the mailing list to go in and kind of just like look and like see what's left. But everything's made to order. I just open up specific spots that people can jump in and get.
Made to order.
Nobody's going to get that though. That's an old piece. Nobody's getting that.
This is a classic piece. This is classic Lauren. And
that was
I will never
But that is how this came to life. So
is it
you've
really?
never seen this work, huh?
No, I've never seen that work. I've seen it on your table, but I've never seen it work.
The Sear 3, and it's because the Sear 2 never saw the light of day. So the Sear 3 is basically the little static board that I built in yours is in here, but like with a whole bunch of other things. So this is purely negative static detection, which sure, there are static sensors on the market. Absolutely. I think static sensors are a must-have, and I just don't see them in people. Like, I don't see people using static sensors. And there's a lot of reasons for that because, yeah, static is volatile. Awesome. Have you met EMF? Do you want to know what can happen during bursts of electromagnetic radiation that maybe don't belong in an area that could be a precursor to it, and why that they can sort of hold each other accountable? A static device. And if you really want to add, and I don't want to say too much, but there is the symposium, the Paranormal Symposium in Gettysburg in August is a research convention. So it's not a con. It's not like we're a symposium and yet there's going to be vendors and all this other stuff.
Which I'm going to tell you right now, I highly recommend it to everybody because
it is Alex Matsuo, her and the Institute of Paranormal Study. I don't think it's the Institute of Paranormal Study, but they put it on, and you have to submit abstracts.
Yes.
And submit academic papers to be admitted into presenting research only. So not about your ghost experiences, not about anything, pure research. And it's not Alex that's reading these papers. Sure, she's a part of it. One of the gals, I'm getting ready to be interviewed for her dissertation, like her actual college education dissertation. She is a highly educated there's PhDs on this board. There are professors on this board that read this research and admit people into this symposium. And I'm so excited that I got to submit this year because I was available to do it and got in. And the paper that I submitted is on what's called the KSE method, which is kinetic, static, and electromagnetic being present in your paranormal explorations and why that's so important. And there's all sorts of rabbit holes that you can go down when it comes to just those three things. Honestly, not even video. This is going to be so controversial. Video documentation is just for your ego. That's it. That's not.
You're preaching to the choir with me. You're totally preaching to the choir.
And I get it. And sometimes people are like, no, I do video to capture the data. I get that. And that's fine if you're just using it for your experimentation data. But when you're like, wow, this is really great, I'm going to upload this on Facebook. Like, that's just, it's all. And the only thing that you're adding to it by adding 5 bajillion cameras everywhere, you're just adding more electrical equipment that's going to set off your devices.
Oh yeah.
And that's no
people
longer
don't realize
a control
that.
situation.
Why do you think when you're
live
watching
streaming?
Oh,
You're
oh
not
my
doing
God.
science if you're live streaming.
People have no idea
And this is
of the
not, I'm not trying
effect.
to bitch. This is not a bitch fest. I go live all the time from haunted locations, especially locations that people don't often have access to. That is not me telling you that you're a bad investigator. That is not what I'm saying.
But it's not,
But
but it's
when
somebody
you're
that's not
passing
understanding it.
off, when you're passing off what you're doing as this like objective driven science approach, and you're kind of doing all of these things, I want you to know that you could to approach it a little bit better.
Well, I have to agree. People don't understand that. People are, you know what? I'm sorry, but the whole video industry, when it comes to paranormal, is nothing to me more than an egotistical fad.
I
It's
mean,
like, hey,
I'm entertained by it. I am never. Don't stop posting your videos, everybody. I watch them.
well, you know, I do too, up to a point. I'm going to take up to, and you're talking to somebody that's in reality, you know, reality was
I
in
love it
reality TV.
all.
It's good
Don't stop posting. Keep up your
to
YouTube
me.
channels. I want to see you pretend like you're seeing demons. I like that. I
well, you
find
know,
it entertaining. Don't stop.
well, but that now you just nailed it.
I love
Too
it.
many people take themselves too seriously, don't understand the
Oh my God.
technology, and
Yes.
they
Yes.
forget that it is an entertainment driven industry.
Well, my biggest thing is seeing these people that really do that they do want to be taken so seriously, and I want to help you be taken seriously. Guys, I'm literally spending tons of money to go to college to help bring science to the paranormal more, and in a way where I can't be sort of like blown off as just like the physicist hobbyist. Um, yes, I am going to college and getting a degree for ego. That's, there's worse reasons to go to college for. I mean, I'm
Listen,
minoring in math. I'm literally going to take so many math classes
look, Lauren,
for you guys.
If you're going to go to college for ego, do yourself a favor. Liberal arts, community college, get your, you know what? Learn how to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Oh,
That's
hell
ego.
no.
That's what you do. You're not going for ego. You're
Listen, this
going
is
for
my ego, though.
you're
My
going to
ego
go
is physics, astronomy, and math. A major, a dual major. So, technically speaking, a dual major in physics and astronomy and a minor in math.
but this is all falls into your passion, into your focus, into your drive. And
I'm going to
that
be
is
a
what so many
teal-haired
people are
physicist
missing.
with tattoos.
Well, yeah, you got I'm glad I don't have any tattoos, but
I'm
you
going to be
know,
the coolest looking math nerd on campus. And that's the thing. I'm going full time at Youngstown State University. Because that was another issue that I was seeing as well too. There are a lot of checks and balances that I don't see happening when it comes to who we are getting our information from. And
mhm,
there are
I
quite
agree.
a few people in the industry that got like a master's or a PhD from a metaphysics college online specifically. And
Don't even
metaphysics,
don't go
now
there.
don't get me wrong, don't get me wrong. It is a
I have a
religious
problem. I have a
institution.
huge problem with
Well, hold
that.
on. Technically, it is a real degree. However, it is not accredited by any academic institution
There you go.
because it
There
is
you
a
go.
religious degree. But it's not disclosed. So people are out here saying, I want to speak at your event. I have a master's degree. I have a PhD. You should pay me more. I have this, I have that. And if you just say from where or in what, parapsychology is not a degree.
No.
You cannot, those credits don't transfer. Metaphysical studies, those credits don't transfer. So it's tough when we're putting people on these pedestals, and I would never call it a fake degree because it's technically not a fake degree. They're real degrees. Putting people on these pedestals, knowing that they spent 8 weeks online and spent a few $100s to get this piece of paper, and they're not disclosing. Now, if you want to disclose, I got a master's at a college of metaphysics for parapsychology. Here you go. It took me 8 weeks, but it was really interesting. Let me talk to you about it. I'd be like, yeah, oh my God, I would love to know what you learned. Let's talk about it. Let's hash that out. But those aren't the conversations that are happening. It's I have my master's, call me doctor, pay me money. And that's so problematic in a field where we believe things like ghosts. So I see so much predatory behavior in this
There you
field.
go. There you go.
And
That is it. That's my biggest bitch when it comes
and
to
it's a
lot
lot
of this.
because we just want to feel smart and we want to feel important.
You want to?
And
there you go
I
again.
want you guys to be smart. You are important. You are smart. We have to start getting our information from better places. And this is always a huge, like, I'm sorry, what? And I don't think people can conceptualize this. The concepts and the theories. Yeah, yes. I'm like, how long were you in school? Because a PhD, you got to get a 4-year degree.
Yeah.
And like a dissertation is it's not multiple choice. Get it, Joanne. Get it, girl. Hell yeah.
Well, Lauren.
I hope we're friends. If not, friend request me.
Lauren, here's the thing. I learned a long time ago.
Wait. I'm like, did I just not see her last name? Are her and I friends?
Here, I'll bring it back up for you.
Where are you?
There you go.
Oh, we're not friends. Joanne, I'm friending you right now.
Anyway,
I love me.
I learned a long
queen.
time ago when I was working for my ordination and I was going and doing the Morris Pratt continuing spiritualist education.
I've had the same conversation with Giuliano too, because he's
Yeah.
like these quick schoolings, because it doesn't have to be college,
or
but it needs to take you longer than 8 weeks to learn things.
It's a lifetime journey. Or these ordinations. I mean, when this church folded that I was associated with, I took a 4-hour class to be part of something recognized in New York State, just to make sure that if I officiated a wedding, I knew that I wouldn't have a problem explaining it or whatever. And I'm going to tell you what, why do you think that I went and dropped Reverend from my name? I don't want that moniker. The moniker is something that is just more that's honorary. And I'm not going to go and I'm not going to say, listen, I spent 4 years of study of theological study. Yes, I have worked with Jesuits and all these other great people, but when it comes to hardcore study, that I did not accomplish. I went and I accomplished a mail order course. And to me, it is something that is, I'm not going to go. It's right out there.
Not be problematic though, because people did not try to and I don't even know if some people realize that they're deceiving by doing this, or if they honestly think.
I think it's an ego thing. I'm going to come right out and tell you that I feel that's a total ego thing.
Sometimes I think it's half and half. That it's like, wow, I can have this, and it gives me this sense of self-importance, and people are going to take me seriously. And that sometimes breaks my heart, but it's also like the community itself. We have to be better about knowing where we're getting our information.
Agreed.
And this is also too,
Agreed.
I want to drop my bomb. It's my favorite bomb ever. And it's why I have to take tons and tons of math. We have things like string theory.
Right.
We have things like the gentleman that was in the chat was talking about E8 theory.
Right.
We have things like, oh my gosh, what are some of like the other ones? Anything that's dimensional.
Right.
And when we start to try to apply that to the paranormal, the only question that you should be asking the person that is telling you that they're applying physics or that they're applying this theory or that they thoroughly understand string theory is that you need to ask them to show you the mathematical equation, because we think that it is this like visual story, and y'all, it's nothing but math. It is a math equation. It's an equation. And then me explaining it to you is the story. But it is math. It's math. It's ease and triangles. And it is a mathematical concept that is so beyond. So when we start to say, well, string theory says that there could be 11 dimensions. So let's talk about those 11 dimensions. And it's like, that's not how that works. Those 11 dimensions are placeholders for math that we don't know yet. That's not anything that has to do with any experimentation. It has nothing to do with anything that we've actually found out or experienced or were able to test. It is untestable because it's all numbers. That's it. There's been no experimentation. We cannot see the point particles that we're assuming have tiny vibrating strings.
Yes.
We cannot see them
or
experiment with them. And that's why it's a math problem. And with E8, that's almost like one thing that you find out when it comes to getting down into the nitty gritty of physics is that physicists, and it's almost like I'm going to be a pariah of the science community. And that's fine. I know that I'm going to be, and it's okay. That's fine. I'm going to try not to let it go
join
to
my union. Join my union. It's the
I'm going
union
to
of
try not to let it go to
pariahs.
my head because I have an issue with being very argumentative, and I get it, and that's fine. And I want to know something so hard so that I can solve it. And physicists are infatuated with the laws of the universe that show us symmetry. And I did a video on mirror particles because somebody was like, oh, I feel like the idea of mirror particles is so interesting. And I'm like, it's a math problem. It's not actually anybody thinking that there's a mirror world. It's nobody other than the time, like there's a whole time cone thing. Other than that, that's just been visualized, but it's a math problem. And so those mirror particles are just because there are certain things in physics that we can't explain. 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 plus equals. And so we're like, we got to put something there. We need symmetry. And so we input these things. This is only half true, but made up, it's not really made up math, but there's so much theoretical math equations that have not been solved yet in physics. So when we hear things like string theory and multiple dimensions, and did you hear the scientists discovered 37 dimensions? Have you heard about the mirror world? It's math. And when we start to apply those concepts to the paranormal, all we're doing is just taking a story and adding it to another story. You are just making the fish bigger. That's all you're doing. You're not actually doing anything with science because tell me the equation with it. And that even, honestly, I have even gotten so petty that when I redo the manual for this year, I'm going to put the fucking math equation in it with no notes.
This is why we love you, Lauren.
I'm so sorry about all the cursing.
That's all right. The fuck, Anyway,
okay, thank you.
Anyway, listen. This has been fascinating.
That was a great end too.
Oh, I thought it was a
math,
great
y'all.
End. I think it's fantastic. Listen, you know what, Lauren? I got a chance to speak many years ago to the late Stanton Friedman, and he echoes a lot of what you were talking about today. Especially,
I hate when you tell me about people that I can't meet.
Oh, I wish you could have met him because he was
I'll just
really
be the next. I'll make his memory proud.
I mean, he was amazing. But he turned around and he said, everything is math. Everything is math. And if you understand the math, you understand the experience. And I always remember we were just talking. I can't remember if we were at lunch or wherever.
It's a conundrum. That's why people go to school for years and years and years for the stuff that I'm diving into. I've already started my research for a master's that isn't probably happening for 7 years. Like the research is now. I have equations I don't even know what they are.
When I grow up, Lauren, when I grow up, I'm going to be almost like you. Lauren, listen, we come to the end of the show. Stay tuned. Do not move. Do not leave. I want to thank you properly off the air. And seriously, this has been an amazing evening. Amazing.
It's always wonderful talking to you. I love you so fucking much.
Well, that's as close. That's as close. That's a heart that needs a transplant.
I like the new ones too. This is the new one.
Oh, that's the new one. Oh.
That's my favorite. It's a heart, and it's so easy.
Forget it. It's beyond me. It's beyond me. Anyway, kiddo, listen. Stay back. Stay tuned. and I'll be right back. But thank you so much, because I've been looking forward to this all day. You don't know how much. And people, I'm just going to tell you what. When you sit down and you have a nice, when you plan on having a 10-minute conversation with Miss Lauren about static and about different things,
That's
3
funny.
hours just goes so quick, and you sit there and you go, I have more questions than I ever imagined. So it's amazing. It's
Me
amazing.
too.
Plus on top of it, when her and Kathy are at at Mansfield, and yours truly is doing a trance thing that just happened, and she witnesses it.
And we're
I
just
was like,
watching, and I'm like cranking a static generator, just seeing.
oh yeah,
if, like,
let me just
more
add a little
demons will
bit
come
more.
out of Tim's
Let's
mouth.
add a little bit more energy into that
Yeah.
room. Whoa, that's just what we need, right?
It's for science.
Just because that was an interesting evening. But anyway, stay tuned. I'll be right back. Thank you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Isn't Lauren fantastic? I'm telling you, Lauren is like amazing. When we start working with Lauren, you really get a true sense of what everything should be about, how everything should work. And again, what's wrong with questioning? What's wrong with, belief is great. Don't get me wrong. If you have a belief system, that's cool, whatever. Question everything about your life, everything that's going on around you. Understand that everything is fluid. Everything is chaos. If you think about it, everything is chaos. Of course, you're listening to this show, so you know it's chaos. Anyway, hey guys, this is Tim Shaw. You've been listening to Black Cat Lounge. It's where else? It's where the elite meet. Next to the dumpster transfer station, guys. Take care. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. I think I'm speaking next week on for University Express, and then we'll come back. We'll talk to you then. Ciao, babies. Bye-bye.